The golf swing is an athletic, dynamic movement, and therefore the body needs to work in such a way to produce a consistent, powerful, and repeatable motion. And to enable us to do that, we need both sides of the body working together. And in this video, I'm going to show you an excellent drill to make sure you're doing so. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerr Gray here at the Joondalup Resort. Before we get stuck in, please go down below, click subscribe, click that little bell so you get notified of all upcoming videos just like this to help your game in the year ahead. Okay, today's video, we're talking all about getting both sides of the body working together. Now, very often in the studio, when players come in, I will see either one side or the other dominant more than the other. So for example, if I'm a right-handed golfer, I'll see a lot of pulling of the left arm across the body or a lot of pushing with the right arm. And effectively what happens throughout the golf motion is the sequence or the movements between what your arms, the body, the wrists, and the club are doing, they're not quite working in harmony, and that causes a lot of ball striking issues down the track. So coming up with some drills, some exercises, and specifically this dry drill, meaning not hitting golf balls that I'm going to show you today, is an incredible way of getting the feeling of how these body parts need to move together to give yourself that consistency that you're probably looking for. Now, why do we tend to push or pull with different parts of the body? Well, sometimes we're just more right side dominant or left side dominant, depending what dexterity you are, and other times relative to what sports you've played or your concept of what needs to happen in the golf swing, you'll find that your body parts tend to move a little bit more independently from each other. Now, within reason, we're always going to have a certain unique style and look to our golf swings, and that's what makes my golf swing look different to yours and the next guy down the range. But throughout this, we need an understanding that even though we can have certain indifferent movements from me to the next guy, is that we need to understand that when the golf club comes down into the bowl, they need to be working relatively in sync. So this little drill using two clubs today, I'm going to show you an excellent way to get the feeling of how the body and the arms need to work to become more in sync and then deliver that golf club in a more repeatable fashion. So all you're going to do is as simple as this. I've got my 9-iron and my 8-iron set out in front of me. And what you're going to do is you're going to flip them upside down and you're going to hold them just above the head of the golf club. And what I want you to do from here is I want you to set up behind a golf ball, and you're going to create a distance between both of these golf clubs. So you can see my right hand's holding one golf club and my left hand is holding the other. Now it's important that you get two clubs that are relatively the same length here, just so one's not touching the ground and one's quite high. Now from this position, you're going to take your normal golf setup and posture, and I want you to have about a club head's distance between the golf clubs at address. Now, without thinking, the first time I want you to do this exercise, what I would like you to feel is I want you to try and make a backswing. And as you make your backswing, I want you to notice if one club is moving faster than the other or in a different direction. So very commonly, when I get players to do this, I'll see a lot of this movement or a lot of this movement, and you can see the clubs are not working in sync. Now, ideally what we would like is the left side of your body and the right side of your body to be working together in harmony. So keeping this club head distance between the grips and the shafts as we make a backswing motion, we're really going to start to feel how both sides of the body need to work throughout the motion to deliver that consistency back to the ball. So from the address, we've got a club head distance between the grip and the shafts, and we're just going to swing back to halfway to start off. And we're going to get this checkpoint here where the shaft is parallel to the ground, maintaining that distance between the clubs. Now I can feel a little bit of stretch in my torso, which is a little bit different from what I normally feel. So when I do this exercise, even myself, without trying to focus too much on keeping the clubs together, I would generally have the tendency to get my left arm kind of swinging across my body too much. But as I do this exercise and I can feel that the clubs are staying that consistent distance apart, I can really feel like my upper body is initiating that takeaway. I'm feeling sort of a stretch through my torso as I move the golf club back into this position. Then as I continue up from there, keeping these clubs working parallel together, about the same distance apart, well, this gives me a great feeling of wrist hinge and set and width of the right arm. If I'm finding that this arm here or this golf club is moving way back and behind me, well, you can see how that would mean that we're not really keeping them in sync, and that could cause some issues with my downswing on the way through. So I'm going to set up, I've got a club head distance between the two. I'm going to make my backswing, keeping the distance relatively apart. Now, as you do this, you can watch the clubs go back, but I don't want you to sway off the golf ball. So once you're set here, don't move off the golf ball too much with your body. You're going to keep your head relatively centered, keeping the distance of the clubs apart, feeling that you're getting to your backswing. Stop, check, realign those clubs. From here, I feel coiled, I feel wide, I feel like I've got a lot of room to get those arms coming back underneath. And then even through impact, let's try and keep them about the same distance together all the way to the follow through. Now, as you do this, I want you to be slow, I want you to be intentional, I want you to feel the difference between what this movement does to your body, the sensations that you feel throughout the torso, throughout the arms, and the movement of the club down into impact relative to what you normally feel. Now, as I do this, you'll see that my swing starts to take shape. It looks like by this stage here, the club is in alignment with the target. I then start to get a nice little bit of hinge and fold, maintaining this distance all the way down and through the golf ball into a finish. Now, after you've done that a couple of times, just drop one of the clubs, set up to another golf ball, and work towards recreating that feel, the differences between what you would do normally and then what you felt with that drill. And then just make some slow little swings, just trying to recreate that sensation, which was slightly different from what you would feel normally. An excellent drill. You can practice it every night, 5 minutes or so here and there. Now, it's a great way to build up that sort of sequencing, make sure both sides of the body are working favorably. If you do this a lot, you'll just get a lot more of a repeatable strike down on that golf ball. So if you're struggling and you feel like your right hand or your left arm is doing too much in the golf swing and you don't feel like you're quite in sync, this is an excellent dry drill to work on and something I recommend a lot of players do. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please go down below once again, click subscribe, click that little bell. But until next time, I'm Kerry Gray. Thanks for watching.